Welcome back, friends. Steve here with another DOS upgrade video. This time we're going from DOS 3.3 to DOS 5.0. We tried DOS 4 in a previous video, and it had some bugs. Let's see if this one has any bugs. Stick around. Okay, folks, here we are with the DOS 3.3 machine from before. And we are going to attempt a DOS 5.0 upgrade. This would have been a pretty popular upgrade because people didn't really like DOS 4.x. It wasn't really 100% compatible. And that is where, for me, the reputation of not wanting to try out the first version of something came about. So Microsoft tried really hard with DOS 5.0 to release it as a .0 release to get past that stigma of that. But that was always the news. Like, will it be okay as a .0 release? That, in my mind, is where that came from. Maybe it came from somewhere else in your mind. Let me know down below in the comments. But this is the old DOS 3.3 machine that we had from a couple of videos back. Let's go ahead and get the DOS 5 floppy in and get her booted up. Cannot be installed on your hard disk because there's not enough space. I need 2.8 megabytes of free space. So I wanted to stop the video because right here is where we had a problem with DOS 4. We ran out of disk space doing the DOS 4 install also, but DOS 4 gave us a very nondescript error message, asked us to stick the next disk in the drive, which we did, copied some more files, gave us another nondescript error message, might have asked for the next disk and did the same thing, and then exited, leaving us with a non-working system. And the answer was, we were out of disk space, go free up some disk space, which is ultimately what I wound up doing, was removing the old DOS folder and starting over with a new DOS folder. DOS 5 seems to have handled this a little bit better. Yay! Let's exit and correct the problem. F3. Take the disk that you already have in the machine and put it in the machine. And press Y. Why? Because you said so. All right, CD. Let's get rid of some stuff that's here. All right, let's delete this image.dat file. Can't do it. Trib not found. Okay, so we're booted off of the floppy disk. We're not booted off the hard disk. And my path and my DOS files and so on aren't there. So let's remove that. And let's reboot into DOS 3.3. Yay, DOS 3.3. All right, so now a trib image.dat. A trib minus r image.dat. And now we can delete image.dat. Okay, let's delete the test.txt file. Let's remove the directory test. And then what else do we have? In the tools folder, we made a couple of archives. Yep, there's test.zip. Let's delete test.zip.zio. Test.zip. And I spelled it wrong anyway. All right. Test.zip is gone. Let's try the install again. Disk 1. Hey, this looks more promising. To continue setup, press enter. All right, it's got my date and time correct. My country is United States. My keyboard is default, and I want to install it to the hard disk. Yes. I want to install it to C:/DOS, and I want to run the DOS shell on startup. Sure, why not? 27% on the first floppy disk. Second disk, 67%. Setup is now complete. Please remove any floppy disks and press enter. Let's remove the floppy disks. Well, let's just see what happens. This has got disk 3 in the drive. Let's see if it'll try to boot off of disk 3. Non-system disk or disk error. It will not boot off of disk 3. Let's remove that. Press any key. And it's doing its own reboot, and it went into DOS shell. Nice. Okay, so we have the ability to choose our different floppy disk drives or hard disk drive. We're currently on the hard disk. The directory tree. Hit the plus key to expand that like it's showing. Hit the minus key to shrink it. Okay. Bugs. And I don't have a mouse driver installed yet. So that won't work. View. Is there any way to see the contents of a file? Show information. Okay. Open, run, print, associate, search, view file contents. There is. Nice. Bugs of PC port. Nice. Escape to cancel. Okay. And at the bottom, there is some programs that you can run. Command prompt, DOS version 5, exit, takes us back into DOS shell like you'd think. DOS now comes with a decent text editor. Let's edit the autoexec.bat and see what changes it made. That's not the right text editor. Weird. Why is that like that? Okay, let's put our tools path in here. While we're here, that's not the DOS editor. Let's see. File, properties of the editor, edit $1. What's under advanced? Help topics. Okay. Conventional memory, extended memory, video mode, texture graphics. So you could do a little bit of configuration. Oh, you could password protect stuff too. Awesome. No changes. No changes. QBasic, we'll get into that a little bit later. Disk utilities, disk copy, backup disk, restore disk, quick format, undelete. Neat. Okay. So why did it pick my editor instead of the DOS editor? Let's see if we can find out why. File, Alt F4 to exit. So this came after Windows, so that's why it's kind of got that Windows look and feel to it, and kind of looks like Program Manager at the bottom and File Manager at the top, only it's in text mode, and it's using Alt F4 for trying to exit the programs. And bad command or file name came out of the autoexec.bat. Nice. So I was in the tools folder when I ran the edit command from the program group down the bottom. So let's go back into DOS shell, and it just grabbed it right out of the current path instead of going to the system path first, which is a very DOS thing to do, where it will just look in the current path first, and then if it doesn't find it, it will look in the system path and go into all of those folders. So now that we're here, let's run that, and I want to edit /autoexec.bat. I spelled it wrong. And there is the MS-DOS editor that I was looking for. That's pretty interesting. Yeah. I don't know if I'm impressed or not impressed. So past me had created an edit.bat file for editing things. I know, that comes as a shock. And I stuck it in my tools folder, which was the folder that I was in. And so when I ran the edit command from the DOS shell, and it did not have and it was in the current path, that's what it did. So now you know. All right, let's get out of DOS shell. And I could have pressed Alt F4, but I didn't. All right, so let's do set to see if that path is taken, because it hasn't. Now, because I have that edit batch file, it'll do that instead. Okay, let's look into the DOS folder and see what new stuff lurks in the DOS folder. DOS. Lots of stuff. Okay. Let's do sys files. Country, EGA, keyboard, display, HiMem, ANSI, RAM drive, smart drive. Smart drive is a disk cache. Disk caching and SSD. That ought to be interesting. Driver sys, printer sys. Okay. New COM files. One of the cool things about DOS 5 is that a lot of these programs now have help files. So format /?, where before they didn't have it, you'd have to go look at a manual. And if you didn't have a manual, you'd have to phone a friend because there wasn't any internet. You couldn't just go look it up online or send a friend an email or go into a chat program and chat with somebody. You had to get out the book. Let's see. Anything special in here? Quick format. I don't think there was a quick format before. Unconditional. Performs an unconditional format. No matter how much it hurts, it's just going to format that disk. All right, specifies /F specifies the size of the floppy disk to format. So you could go from 160K floppies all the way up to 2.88 megs. 2.88 megs came in the PS2 machines and other machines if you bought it and put the drive in. It wasn't a real popular drive, but it did and still does exist. And this display, this 8513 display that you guys are looking at, because I got all fancy with my camera trickery here, was the typical display that you would see on a PS2 machine. Allocate space on the formatted disk for system files. Interesting. So it will make space on an empty, unformatted disk for you to put files on it where there wouldn't have been any space unallocated. Or you can do and it wouldn't put the system files there. Or you could do /s and it would put the system files there. Specify track, specify sectors, formats a single side of the disk, formats 360K disk in a high density drive, formats 8 sectors per track. Cool. Okay, key B. Configures a keyboard for a specific language. Key B space US, 2-letter country code. Well, that was uneventful. Specifies that an enhanced keyboard is installed. Specifies the keyboard in use. Keyboard definition file. Code page, key B US 437. And that's just something I remember from way back when, was that 437 was the US code page. So there. Let's see. Did that take up any memory? It did. That's a TSR. So we just lost 6K of memory to tell our computer in the US that we were using a US keyboard and a US code page. And there doesn't appear to be any way to unload it. Okay, so if you run key B without any switches or parameters or anything, it will then tell you where it's at. Okay, mode. Mode will configure system devices. Printer serial, give you device status. Let's see. What is my current serial port device status? Mode com1/status. Retry equals none. So I was hoping it would tell me what the COM port was configured as in terms of baud rate and parity and stop bits and all that stuff, but it doesn't appear to give me any of that. So let's set it first. Mode com1: baud equals 9600. And so it gave me a bunch of defaults to go along with it. Data bits, stop bits. I don't know what the dash or the E is. Parity would be E. Okay. Mode com1/status. And you can put the colon in or leave the colon out. And it still doesn't tell me what the speed settings are. Interesting. All right. Mode /?. Redirect printing. So you can now redirect printing from a serial port to a COM port if you want. Mode LPT mode com1. See if you can do serial port to LPT1 printer ports. Can't do it. Mode LPT1: equals com spelling counts com1: Okay, you can do that. Mode LPT1/status. LPT1 is rerouted to com1. Mode LPT1 equals. Can't do that. And can't press the up arrow yet. We'll get there. LPT1. Mode LPT1: equals LPT1: LPT is line printer. Still can't do it. Mode LPT1: /D. Nope. So there's no way to unredirect. Interesting. No way to unredirect according to the help files. Prepare code page, select code page, refresh code page status, display mode, columns and lines. Okay. Mode con 40, whoops, calls equals 40, lines equals 25. ANSI sys must be installed. Okay, let's install ANSI sys. So we want to edit our ANSI sys. We want to edit our config sys file to put ANSI sys in it. So let's check memory. We have no extended memory reported by the BIOS. We have 15 megs of XMS. And we have all 15 megs of it free, and DOS is in the high memory area. And we're also at 630.128. Check disk, see if check disk and memory info agree. 630.128, they do. All right, so edit c:\config.sys. Device equals c:/DOS/ANSI.sys. Save and exit, and reboot. And now that we don't have DOS shell installed, we're getting output from the HiMem device driver, which is how memory info, MI, is able to see what kind of memory we have. 632.624, so we gain memory because we removed the KB and then we put in the key B, and we put in the ANSI sys. I believe KB was 6K and now ANSI sys is 4K, so we've freed up 2K of memory. And we installed the A20 handler. So the A20 address line 20, if you wrote to that, if I remember correctly, it would start back over at 0 because that was the end of memory for previous versions of DOS and machines with lower memory. And then when the 286 came out, if you wrote to A20, it was just another address in memory because there now was a new address up there. We've got 64K of high memory area. Okay, let's go back to the mode command. We don't need to be in the DOS folder for that. Mode con calls equals 40 lines equals 25. Okay, now we switch to 40 by 25. And that looks, well, I mean, it's nice and crisp and clear, but you can't see anything on the screen. Okay, with the dir/w, because there's not enough columns on the screen to show it. Mode con calls equals 80 lines equals 43. I think 43 lines was an EGA thing. So now you can get 43 lines on the screen. Mode con calls equals 80 lines equals 50. And 50 lines I think was a EGA thing. And so now there's 50 lines on the screen. Mode con calls equals 25. No, calls equals 80 lines equals 25. And we're back to normal. All right, what's the rest of the mode command? Typematic rate. And I think in the last video we found out that the typematic rate doesn't change under VirtualBox, but you could change it here and then we wouldn't notice a change. But if you were on an actual machine, it seemed like it took forever for keys to repeat. So you could speed it up. So when you held down a key, it would repeat very quickly. And you can't press escape to clear out the command yet. Spoiler coming up ahead. All right, mirror. Mirror will record information about one or more disks. So save hard disk partition information to a floppy diskette. Mirror C:. The mirror process was successful. It creates an image of the system area. Why didn't they say that in the help? Where did it put the mirror file? Mirror.fil, 38,400 bytes. Seems very close to 32K. Let's do, looks like it's all binary stuff to me. Okay. So how would we restore that? Saves only the latest disk information, does not back up previous. Okay, so we got a mirror file.back, a mirror.back, and a mirror.file. Let's do it one more time. We've got mirror.file, mirror.back. So it doesn't go any farther back than that. Okay. Mirror/T drive loads the deletion program for the specified drive. Specifies maximum number of entries. Okay, do we have anything in memory right now? Nope. Mirror/TC. Installation complete. Following drives are supported. Drive C, default file saved. Okay, the config.old file is gone, and the mirror.fil hasn't changed size yet. Okay. Mirror/U unloads the deletion tracking program. We'll leave it in for now. Part N saves hard disk partition information to a floppy disk. We don't have any floppy disks to save it to. Mirror, undelete, and unformat are copyright Central Point Software. Central Point Software made PC tools, and this was a time frame where Microsoft was starting to come under heat for putting way too much stuff into DOS and getting close to being a monopoly. So they started to include tools from third parties and thinking that was going to get them out of trouble. It didn't get them out of trouble. That was mirror sys. Sys will copy the MS-DOS system files and command interpreter to a disk you specify. So the MS-DOS system files are the io.sys and the ms-dos.sys file, and then the command interpreter is command.com. I wonder if it's smart enough to copy the one that's specified in the comspec line in config sys, or if it will just copy command.com. Let's see. So you can specify the source and you can specify the destination. And let's try to sys C:. Cannot specify the default drive. Okay, let's put a floppy disk with some boot images on it into the floppy drive. So this is the, oh, look at that, with an underscore. So that means that these files were compressed on the floppy disk, which is why it only took 3 floppy disks to install all of this wonderful stuff. Okay, sys C:, since we're now on the A drive. System transferred, okay. Sys C:/ is the source. C: is the destination. Let's see if we can trick it. Source and target cannot be the same. Sys A:/ to C:. System transferred. Awesome. And for good measure, let's see if we can survive a reboot. I have the floppy disk in the drive. Hang on. Floppy disks. Floppy drive 0. Remove. Reboot. Okay, now we're back. And let's see, cd dos dir/star.com/w. And we're still on DOS 5. So it didn't change the DOS version, and I didn't think it would. I just wanted to make sure. Unformat would attempt to unformat a disk that you formatted. If you formatted it quickly, what you would do is you would rewrite the beginning of the disk, which would give you what appeared to be a blank disk. It would overwrite the file allocation tables. And then if you did a regular format, it would attempt to write new sectors and tracks to the disk, which would then erase the information that was on the disk. Unformat would probably be more successful trying to recover a quick formatted disk than a regular formatted disk. Unformat /?. Restores the disk erased by the format command or restructured by the recover command. Verifies the mirror file agrees. Okay. Unformats without using mirror files. Lists all file and directory names found or when used with the part N switch. So we will have to try at the end of this video to format the hard disk and then with the mirror and then unformat it. So unformat is how you would try to stick a floppy disk in and talk at the same time. Unformat is how you would recover from the mirror, recover with the mirror. And I probably could stick the floppy disk in the drive if it was physical while talking, but trying to aim with the mouse is like a third level skill. Maybe it's just me. All right, a : is the unformat command on the floppy disk. Unformat.com. It should be, but the undelete is not. Okay, so they did put a little bit of thought into recovery. Let's see if it's on the second disk for space saving reasons. Change disk just to be safe. It's not on disk 2. Let's check disk 3. Yeah, so all you can do is unformat. Let me make sure before I go talking out of turn. It might have just not been in alphabetical order. Nope, only unformat. Okay. DOS key. All right, DOS key is pretty cool. DOS key lets you, first off, it's a TSR, terminate and stay resident. So it's going to stay in memory. It takes up 4K of memory. It's going to let you go up and down through your command stack using the up and down arrows, and it's going to let you do a whole bunch of other cool stuff. Let's look at the help file. DOS key /?. Okay, so reinstall. Buffer size, macros, history, insert, overstrike, not overwrite, overstrike. Macro name, text. So you could create macros, and you can use up and down arrows to recall commands. You can clear the command line with escape. You can display all of your command history with the F7 key. And there's not a whole lot of command history right now. You can clear it with Alt F7. So I cleared it, and then I hit Alt F7, then I hit F7, and so it shows nothing. F8 to search. I can't really search because there's nothing there to search. So you hit F7 to display the command history, and then F9 to pick by number, and then Alt F10 clears macro definitions. So it's intercepting the keyboard and then doing a bunch of stuff like that. So let's make a macro. So DOS key dw equals dir /w. Okay, now we can type in dw, and that is dir /w, like it was a DOS command that was built in. Okay, dir star.com/w, and now we can do a list, and then we can do F9, and it wants to know line number, and I'm going to give it line number 2, which is going to run dw. It brings it back into edit mode so I can edit it and then press enter. That's nice. What else does DOS key do? Anything? Okay, you can have macros that take parameters or can just consume all the rest of the parameters that you give it. So you can have it take specific parameters, so only take parameter number 1, or you can have it take parameters out of order. So parameter number 2, parameter number 1, and then the rest of the command line, or you can have it just take the rest of the command line. And then $T would give you the ability to have multiple lines on your command. So if I wanted to create a DOS key macro for editing the autoexec bat file, and I realize that there's other ways to do it, but just bear with me for the purposes of this example, EA equals C : to change to the C drive, $T, and then CD / to change to the root folder, and then edit with my favorite editor, the autoexec.bat file. So I'm in the DOS folder, I type EA, and there we have it. And now I'm in the root folder, which is what the EA command did. DOS key /?. Can I list the macros that I have? Yes, I can. DOS key /macros. And there's probably a trick. So first off, let's do DOS key /macros. and redirect the output to the DM file. Okay, so now we type the DM.txt file, and there's our macros, DOS key / question mark. Now I want to reinstall it and see if that wipes out all the macros. DOS key / reinstall. DOS key / well, first off, let's see if it's in the command history or we've wiped out the command history. F7, nothing in the command history. So we have wiped out the command history. DOS key / macros. We've wiped out the macros. DOS key and redirect in from dm.txt. Is that going to work? That did not work. Let's do DOS key dm.txt. Invalid macro definition. Okay. So in the help file, it doesn't appear that there's any way to bring back your aliases. You'd have to set them up every single time or put them in your autoexec bat file one line at a time. That's primitive. No big deal. Okay, DOS shell. We looked at DOS shell already. Select. Select is used to install. Do I want to continue? No. And that didn't give me a help file, so that is a relic. So select is from 87 and DOS keys from 91. So select is from a previous version of MS-DOS. It doesn't complain, but it's not from this version of DOS, so we will skip it. Edit is the DOS editor. We looked at that. MS-HERC. Install support for QBasic programs using the Hercules graphics card. So there was a couple of different kinds of displays that were out. MDA is text, monochrome, no colors. Hercules was text, monochrome, no colors, plus really high resolution graphics. Off the top of my head, I want to say it was like 720 by 480. Maybe it was 720 by 200. Leave a comment below if you know what it is. But it was really high resolution for the day because the graphics, when you finally got to CGA, were 320 by 200 with 4 colors from 4 really ugly palettes, which 2 of them were just the other palette, only brighter. But you could also do in CGA 640 by 200. So Hercules was 720 by something, and it was much higher resolution. Then you got into EGA, and then you got into VGA, and VGA would have been the kind of the standard that people would have had around the DOS 5 time. EGA was 640 by 350 max, I believe, and I'm just going by memory. 64K, 64 colors on screen. I never had an EGA, so this is just something I read in a book and never really played with all that much. And then VGA was amazing. 320 by 200 with 256 colors on screen at a time from a palette of 256,000 colors. And you could make some pretty nice looking pictures. Low resolution by today's standards, but nice looking pictures nonetheless. So this is a way to get Hercules compatible graphics, libraries, routines, support, whatever, inside of QBasic. Next up is assign. Let's see if the help file gives us a better rendition than my help that I gave in my previous videos on assign. So assign redirects request for disk operations on one drive to a different drive. So if you had your second hard disk as the D drive and you wanted to have that be your home folder, you could make it the H drive by saying assign D colon space equal, well, D colon equals H colon, or assign D equals H. Assign / status, and I got none assignments. What's next? Disk comp and disk copy. One would compare, one would copy. Disk comp / question mark. Drive 1, drive 2 compares the first side of the disk, compares only the first 8 sectors of each track, and you could compare the A drive to the A drive. In this time frame, it was common to have 2 different size disk drive. So you'd have a 5 1/4 inch drive and a 3 1/2 inch drive. And then it got a little weird because you might have a 5 1/4 inch double density or a 5 1/4 inch high density paired with a 3 1/2 inch double density or a 3 1/2 inch high density. Or if you had a PS2, you had a 3 1/2 inch extended density for 2.88 megabytes, like we said before. So you really couldn't compare a disk at the sector level between a 5 1/4 inch and a 3 1/2 inch drive. So you could do disk comp A colon space A colon, and it would compare the disk in the A drive with the disk in the A drive, prompting you along the way to swap back and forth disks. All right, disk copy question mark. two floppies must be the same type, and you can specify drive 1 and drive 2 as the same drive. /1 copies only the first side, and /v verifies that it copied correctly. Too bad you can't do like a disk copy /1 and then a disk copy /2 for the second side. But that goes back to the same reasons why you can specify the same drive, is because you might have, like I said before, different drives, physically different drives. Or you might not even have a second drive. All right, graph table. So instead of GRAPHTABLE, actually I guess it's GRAPHICS space TABLE. We didn't have long file names. You only had 8 characters as the file name and 3 characters as the extension. At this time, they made it GRAFTABL. So it was close enough you could figure it out. Enables MS-DOS to display extended character set in graphics mode. So graph table 437, and now we've got an active code page of 437. Did that take up any memory? Yes, that took up some memory. And DOSKey was in there twice. That's stupid. So DOSKey reinstalled, just put another version of DOSKey on after the previous version of DOSKey. Couldn't remove itself. Good thing we had tools back then that could do that. That's why I had all that mark and space and free and release or whatever it was. Mark and free? I don't know. It's in my command line happiness video where I go over all the tools that I had collected over the years. So dir.star.com/w. Take a look at that video if you want to see those tools. All right, graphics. Loads a program that can print graphics. So this will take up some more memory. And this would get graphics characters out onto your printer. More. Now, instead of just me showing you what more does, I can show you what more thinks it does. Displays output one screen at a time, which is in fact what it does. And you can redirect in from it. So more from DOS shell.ini. And there's page 1 of, page 2 of, okay. And to quit, you have to do Control-C because you can't hit like Q to quit. And I didn't hit Control-C that many times. I don't know why I did that. That was me. I hit the / key twice by accident because I missed the Shift key. And as you can see, I missed the Shift key by hitting the caps lock key. Okay, so the other thing you could do is command name pipe to more. So type DOS shell.ini and pipe that to more. And there you go. One screen at a time and 2 different ways to use the more command. Load fix. Loads a program above the first 64K of memory and runs the program. Use load fix to load a program if you've received the message packed file corrupt. So this was a workaround for older versions of programs that had issues with newer versions of DOS or newer versions of processors. Tree, // Hey, look, that's what my disk tree looks like. See what it says for help. Graphically displays, that was not graphics, that was just fancy text characters. Graphically displays the directory structure of a drive or path, displays the names of the files in the directory, uses ASCII characters instead of extended characters. So these are the extended characters in the ASCII table. Let's do the non-extended characters. Tree, ///a. Oh, look at that. Not as pretty, but nostalgic. What's left? Anything? Command.com. And I didn't need to put .com, but I did. So, DOS version 5.0. Okay. How much memory to take up? So to load it a second time, it takes more memory than it does to load it the first time. Nice. All right. So I've exited out of that, and it has neatly removed itself. And you can't exit any more than you can exit. Cool. That is all the COM files. Let's look at executable files. NLSFUNC. Nulsfunc. Loads country-specific information. I don't know why it said NLS. Like func, I would assume is function. All right, setver. Setver sets the version number that MS-DOS reports to a program. And you can display the current version table, or add an entry, or delete an entry. So let's do setver, format.com, missing parameter. Oh, wow. Neat. It's got a whole bunch of stuff already installed. Let's pipe that out to more. So Microsoft went through and figured out a bunch of compatibility issues and solved them for you ahead of time. Let's see if we can fake it. Format /?. Most DOS programs that I remember would complain if you tried to use a newer version with an older version or a version mismatch or whatever. So let's do set ver format works. Just showing you that it works to begin with, /?. Let's try and set ver for format.com to 3.30. And we've changed the version table, but we're not 100% sure. And set ver is loaded as a device driver. Let's try and run format now. That we're going to tell format that we're running DOS 3.30 even though we're not. See if it complains. It does not complain. Interesting. I don't know of a program off the top of my head that would complain if it had the wrong version of DOS. But you can see it at the bottom of the table there, that it is a thing. Intro, cache, MSCD, ROM extensions, Hitachi.sys, so a bunch of CD-ROM drivers, and SideQuest drivers. WinWord, Excel, so even Microsoft programs weren't compatible with DOS 5 when this thing was released. Netcom, DXMA, Zero Mod. Yeah, I don't have any of these programs. Okay, well, if we run into it in the future, we will do the needful. What's next? Debug. Runs debug, a program testing and editing tool. After debug starts, type question mark to display a list of debugging commands. Right, we're at a debug prompt, which is just a unceremonious hyphen, question mark. Assemble, compare, dump 4,000 to 4,000 to 4100. See if that exists. Okay, there's the contents of memory. And there's nothing there. DC800 colon C900. And there's F's there. Okay, what other things can we do? Enter an address, fill an address, execute a program with G for go, X, input, load, move, name, output. So very low level. You're actually reading and writing to memory or reading and writing from ROM and doing things with it. And what's interesting, okay, there it is, Q, quit, and we're back. Edlin, nope, EMM 386, 386 / question mark. Turns on or off EMM 386, so activates the device driver or places it in auto mode. Turns on or off WeTech coprocessor supports. I don't have a WeTech coprocessor. Let's do EMM 386 on. Driver not installed, and I figured it would complain about that. So let's install it. So first off, let's look at memory info, and we have extended memory and no expanded memory. So let's put in EMM 386 and see what happens. And check disk only reports conventional memory, not any kind of other memory. So Q, C:\, big.sys. Spelled device wrong. Device equals C:/ DOS / EMM 386.exe. And I don't think case matters, but I typed it up anyway. Let's reboot. Oh, and I still have the floppy disk in. Oops. Remove. And reboot. All right, EMM 386 is installed. 256K of expanded memory. Oh, that's loads of expanded memory. All right, check. And it says EMM 386 is active. Check disk should still not have changed anything. Let's do MI. A bunch of device drivers loaded. And this is telling me 384K of EMS used, 256K free. And interesting. All conventional memory, ignore EMS. MI/H. Okay, so it tells me that it's there, but it doesn't give me a name. MI and then MI/O for the other display format. I like the first one better. Just saying. But they do give you different information. So MI/O will tell you the current program. Cool. So something's using up expanded memory, but it won't tell me what it is. List the hook vectors. Okay. EMM 386 is where we left off. We had to install the device driver to get it to be interactive. EMM 386 on, which it is on. Turn it off. Expanded memory data is inaccessible until EMM 386 is reactivated. MI, and it's gone. And it's back. And some of it is already used again. Okay. Fast open. We went over fast open before. Fast open cached the file locations of files. Let's see what they say. Decreases the amount of time needed to open frequently used files and directories. Okay, how does that compare to smart drive? No? No smart drive? Smart drive's not here yet? No, it was a .sys file. Yeah, there it is. It's a .sys file. So there's no help for it because it's not an executable. We'd have to look at a manual, and we don't have a manual handy. We do have the internet handy, so we can look it up. But we couldn't back then. So fast open specifies the hard disk you want fast open to work with, specifies maximum number of file locations fast open returns in its file name cache. So like I said, fast open will remember where the files are on disk, so it doesn't have to go look them up, which would make it faster. And it creates the file name cache in expanded memory. So let's mark our memory and let's do fast open C drive. Fast open is installed and it has taken up 5.5K of conventional memory. Let's release that and fast open is gone. Fast open / question mark. That's not working out very well. All right, can't control C, have to reboot. All right, so now we do fast open / question mark, and we want to use fast open C : X. And it's installed in the expanded memory area. Let's see how much memory it takes up. So now it takes up some expanded memory, which you can see down here. This used to be 256 with 384 free. No, it was 384 used with 256 free. And now it is 400 with 240. And fast open used to be 5.5K. And it's now 1.3K in low memory and another bunch of expanded memory. So it actually took quite a lot of memory in expanded memory area. So, okay. And I don't think we're going to notice it doing any type of speed increase because this virtual box is already very fast. You would have noticed it tremendously on your fixed DOS hard disk. And when we get to installing a fixed DOS hard disk in a actual physical machine, we can revisit this kind of stuff and do some speed testing before and after. But I don't think you're going to notice it at all. Like ridiculously fast and then faster than ridiculously fast. Okay. Fast open. I didn't put DOS key in autoexec bat, so there isn't any of that. fdisk / question mark. Configures a hard disk for use with MS-DOS, and you want to do fdisk by itself, and it's your partitioning program, MS-DOS version 5.0. Let's display partition information. I don't think there's any free space. Yes, usage 100% of my 20 meg disk. Press escape to exit. But I didn't make any changes, so it doesn't need me to do anything else. dir star.exe /w. Mem. Uh-oh, the mem command. This was DOS's attempt at making a memory listing and diagnostic program. So 32 megs of continuous extended memory, 15 megs available of XMS memory, and DOS is resident in the high memory area. High memory is that space between 640K and 1 meg, is that right? Mem / question mark. Mem / program or /p displays the status of programs currently loaded. And then /d gives you more. And then /c classifies programs by memory use. So let's do mem /p. Oh, that went off the screen. Mem /p pipe to more. Okay. But it's in, so it says the command is at location 6E90 taking 940. Nope, that's in hex also. Let's go back and look at the column headers since they disappeared. Okay, so the size is in hex. The address is in hex, then the size is in hex. So that's not directly useful. Mem /d, which also went off the screen. Let's put DOS key back in. Mem /d pipe to more. So I keep pressing the up arrow and there keeps not being any up arrow to press. Okay, so we're still at size in hex and address in hex. And don't get me wrong, that information would have been useful to someone who was fluent in hex. I just was not. Okay. Mem /c pipe to more. Oh, that's better. For me. For mere mortals like me. All right, so DOS takes up 12960. Setver, high mem, ANSI, EMM386, command, fast open, DOS key, and then some non-contiguous free memory blocks. Total bytes available to program, 604. Largest executable program size, 604. And by the time DOS 5 came around, programs were really pushing the limits of that 640K, and some programs would not load very well if there wasn't enough conventional memory free. Even if your machine had, a typical machine for this time frame, 1 meg, 2 megs, 4 megs. Even if your machine had 4 megs, if it didn't have enough conventional memory below the 1 meg barrier, below the 1 meg line, programs wouldn't load. So you had to fight with memory management and getting stuff to load. And so that's why a tool like this mem tool would have been very useful, because you'd want all your favorite TSRs loaded so you could have your happiness, and then you want to run a program and you couldn't. And DOS itself was getting bigger, and DOS came with more utilities and so on. All right, there's mem share. Installs file sharing and locking capabilities on your hard disk. So getting to be more network aware and multi-user aware. Undelete. All right, it's restores files which have been deleted. Okay, so, and we deleted config.old, undelete, ecolon, no entries found, using the deletion tracking file. All right, so it's only looking in the current directory. It didn't do what I told it to. Okay, because I didn't put a backslash there. No, I don't want to undelete the command.com file. What else? That one can't be recovered. There's the config.old file. Okay. Undelete, nope. Command.com, nope. And there's nothing else. Okay, so I deleted the config.old file earlier in the video, and now I have undeleted it. So let's delete it again. So that was an interactive way of undeleting. Let's see if we can undelete just the file itself. Config.old. Oh, can't. No, I don't want to do that one. That's the one. So, yeah. Did I not delete the file properly? Nope, it's gone and unrecoverable. Okay. Well, it was only a test anyway. I'm not going to shed a tear. Well, maybe a small tear. Okay, where are we? Undelete, followed by xcopy. xcopy / ? Copies files and directory trees. And there's all the extended switches. So copy with the archive bit set and don't change it. Copy with the archive bit set and then turn it off. So the archive bit would have been a way to tell the backup program that you had modified the contents of the file. So this is trying to suggest that you can use xcopy in a backup-like fashion. So it would copy all the files off your hard disk, and then it would turn off the archive bit to let you know that those files have been archived. Okay. Copies file changed on or after a specified date. That's nice. Prompts before creating each destination file. That can get hairy with large folders. Copies directories and subdirectories except for empty ones. Copies subdirectories even if empty. Verifies each new file. Prompts you to press a key before copying. Okay. And we discussed in a previous video why xcopy is different than regular copy. It uses, in addition to all of these extra features, it uses all the available memory to make the copy, where the built-in DOS copy program, I think, only used 64, I want to say 64 bytes. It might be 64K, 64 something, because 64 something's all you need, right? Okay, that was xcopy. Where is it? DOS shell. There's a DOSshell.exe and a DOSshell.com. DOS.shell.com. Loads the DOS shell. Alt F4 exits. DOSshell.exe does the same thing as far as the user is concerned, but there's probably some reason why there's two of them. DOS swap. Well, let's see if it's got command line help. DOS shell / starts the DOS shell in text mode. Doesn't look any different. Yeah, doesn't look any different. Maybe that's just a holdover from before. Starts it in graphics mode. Or black and white. Let's see what black and white looks like. DOS. Oh, indicating screen resolution. Let's do DOS shell black and white first. Yes, that is black and white, but still looks the same text mode versus graphics mode wise. DOS shell / G. Ah, there's the DOS 4-ish looking version. No, nope. This is font editing. This is not anything fancier than font editing. I mean, it looks good, but it's not technically graphics as far as I can tell. Yeah, this looks like it's still text mode to me, but it's text mode with fancy graphics additions. Let's do DOS shell / /G colon high. G colon H. LMH, low, medium, high. What didn't you like about that? Didn't like something about that. Res. You got to put the word res in. Res H. Okay, that's high resolution mode. And what is low resolution mode? I don't notice a difference. Did you notice a difference? Don't notice a difference. Okay, let's do T. Oh, well, it didn't complain. Yeah. I mean, I can see a difference between text mode and graphics mode, but I can't see a difference between low, medium, and high resolution mode. And then you can do any of those. Let's do graphics, colon, res, L for low, /B for black and white. Okay, so we're in graphics mode. We're in an unchanged resolution, and we're in black and white. Okay. DOS swap. MS-DOS task swapper. This program is used internally by DOS shell and should not be run from the command line. Ooh. Task swapping. Not multitasking, but task swapping. DOSSHELL. On to DOS shell. And let's see if we can get some help. Shell basics. Menus and commands, dialog boxes, stuff. Index. Active task list keys. Start a program and add it to the task list without leaving the shell. Go to DOS shell from a program. And Alt-Tab to cycle through programs. Okay, so let's go close. Let's go... Didn't go that far. I tabbed too many times. Okay, that's getting to be a pain. I'm going to install a mouse driver from my tools library and see if that works. All right, so we've got a mouse driver installed. DOS shell. Oh, it's a graphical mouse. Nice, because we're in DOS shell graphical mode. Command prompt, double click. Alt-Tab. Alt-Tab. Control escape. Exit. Okay, so we need to help. My mouse is acting funny, but that's understandable. Index, movement, help, active task list. Shift enter starts a program and adds it to the task list without leaving the shell. Okay, let's try that. Shift enter. Alt tab. Nothing. Shift enter. Alt tab. Nothing. File. Run. Options. Enable the task swapper. Let's see if you need to enable it first. Okay, that was very positive in that it didn't give us any feedback whatsoever. Oh, there's an active task list. It did give us some feedback. It didn't say like, hey, the task swapper is now active. So let's come down to Command Com and Shift Enter, which has put it on the active task list. And the editor, Shift Enter, /auto exec dot bat, and that's now on the task list. So now we do Alt Tab, which is DOS. Alt Tab switches us to the editor. Oh, look at that. DOS shell, editor, command prompt. Neato. Let's go to command prompt. Check this cannot be done in a Windows/DOS shell command prompt. Well, okay then. It's smart enough to know that. But I can run regular check disk. Scan. Getting into the future. We haven't shown this yet because it doesn't exist. I thought this came out in DOS 5. Maybe it came out in DOS 6. Way into the future. Yes, I asked for that. Nope. The editor was not happy. Okay, back into the DOS shell. And command prompt is now gone too. But good old DOS shell is still there. Command prompt. Yeah. Nice. So if you press the first letter of the command, the first letter of the program in the main group in the lower left, it will go to there. So if I'm currently on editor and I hit D, it'll go to disk utilities, and I hit C, it'll go to command prompt, and I hit M, it'll go to QBasic. That's nice. There's a little bit of bugs in the DOS shell task swapping, but it does exist. And what I wanted to do was see what memory info looks like. So I canceled that. Let's go into command prompt by hitting Shift Enter, which puts it on the active task list. Go into the task list, press Enter, MI. And MI shows DOS shell and DOS swap running at 4K, and DOS swap is 36K, and then command prompt is running twice again. So MI automatically pages itself if it's longer than one screen. Nice. Mem didn't do that. Stupid Mem. Anyhow, exit, and we're back in here. Cool. So it does take up some memory in order to do that, which would then lower your available conventional memory, which would then make programs not run as well. So it doesn't appear to be doing any memory tricks. Enter, tab, MI, shift enter. Got a period at the end of it. Yeah, so it's all in conventional memory right now. No period. Okay, so it's just different versions. So now I've got a bunch of different versions of command prompts. Command prompt 2. Command prompt 3 is unhappy. Command prompt 2 is fine. Command prompt 3 is still unhappy. Command prompt 4 is okay. Okay, so let's go back in to DOS shell and start something that's not command prompt. Oh, I can't get out. It's only... There we go. I had to hit Control Escape to get out. Let's go into editor. Give it some file to edit. Okay. So my tools folder is in the path ahead of time, ahead of DOS. So my editor is going to override the MS-DOS shell, the MS-DOS version of editor, which would be in the DOS folder. So, all right, Alt Tab, command prompt, MI, and I cannot see the other memory, so it's a little protected. Alt Tab, MI, editor, command prompt, MI, and this command prompt's still dead. Neat. So it's doing something to protect memory from other programs. Exit. What happens if I exit the DOS shell with all these subprograms running? I think I missed with the mouse. Mousing is hard. You cannot quit MS-DOS shell with programs in the active task list. Close those first. Okay, so I was thinking. Go in here. Leave that one. Leave that one. And it's the only task left, so I just automatically went in there because I didn't press enter. Maybe I pressed enter twice. I don't know. All right. Now we can exit DOS shell. Awesome. So that's how DOS swap works. Print. Prints a text file while you were using other MS-DOS commands. So this is a print spooler, sort of. Yeah. All right. It is a print spooler. Okay. So printers were slow, you could print things, and then you could wait for them to finish printing, and it would take a long amount of time, or you could load up this print spooler, and it would print in the background by taking what you're printing and shoving it into memory, and then slowly spitting it out to the printer. So we should see how much memory that took up. 5K, not bad. That was print. Recover. Recovers readable information from a bad or defective disk. Consult your user's guide and reference before using the recover command. Neat. GW basic. GWiz basic. All right, we're here. 10 print hello world. 20 go to 10. And then run. Hey, look at that. And I can't hit Control C, and I don't have a break key on my keyboard. So reboot. We needed to clear memory anyway, right? Okay. Help. This gives you help for all of the DOS commands, including all the internal DOS commands. Set or clears extended control break checking. Let's do break on, basic, 10 print hello, 20 go to 10, run. Nope. I still don't have a break key, so I don't know if it does Control C extended checking, or if it does Control break extended checking, or it just doesn't work with GW basic. All of the above are possible. So that was the help command. And if you run it by itself, it gives you instructions for all of the DOS, an overview of what all of the DOS commands do, including all of the internal DOS commands. And let's get out of that. If you do help, you ask for help on help /question mark, provides help for MS-DOS commands. You do help with a command next to it. It'll give you that command's help. It's probably running dir/w to give you dir's help command. So that's help. What's next? Link. Personal Computer Linker version 2.40, copyright 85. This might be a relic. Spelling counts. DOS keys not installed. Link is 87. DOS shell is 91. Yep, link is a relic. That's what happens when you upgrade. It's dirty. So there's files from previous versions of DOS installed on here. Okay, so there's link. And then QBasic. Does it have a help screen? Oh, it has a help screen. Monochrome monitor with a color graphics card. Ooh, I'm going to have to try that. Might be able to do dual screen. Quick basic development. QBasic/editor starts the MS-DOS editor. So edit itself is a subset of QBasic/G provides the fastest update of a CGA screen. I don't know why they did /G instead of /C or anything else. Like C would make sense. /H displays the maximum number of lines possible for your hardware. QBasic. So QBasic normal is 80 by 25. Let's clear that. Let's exit. Let's do QBasic//H. Oh, there it is, 80 by 50. It does the thing. And it remembers the screen contents when it flips back out. Converts the built-in functions to longer versions of themselves. Okay. Allows the use of monitor without high intensity support. Okay. That's without high intensity support. Oh, that was colors. Hold on. Okay. So Alt file menu, and you've got red hotkeys, and then when you select them, they're green hotkeys. Okay. And now let's do it without the no high intensity support. Yep, there it is. So bright white instead of red and green. Nice. I kind of like the red and green better. Runs a specific basic program before displaying it. Okay. Money, Gorilla, Nibbles, Remline. And the smallest one is Remline. So let's do QBasic/?. So QBasic specifies the program file to load or run. Remline.base. Okay, so that just goes straight into the editor. Exit. And we do QBasic remline.base/run. Didn't like that. QBasic/run. Remline. Spelling counts. Remline.base. Line number removal utility. Okay, remline is remove line. And it would give me a basic file to remove its line numbers from. Huh. We'll have to play with that one also. Enter to terminate. Because I want to see how it handles like going to a line number or something like that. Let's search. Find. Go to. See if it says anything. Removes only those line numbers that are not the object of one of the following statements. Oh. So I guess if there was no line number and then it came across something that said go to 10, it would go back and edit it. Okay. So let's do a real simple program. Exit. Let's do QBasic test.base, which is a brand new file. 10 print hello. I didn't put that many ends in. I also didn't hit the caps lock key. Pring. This editor and VirtualBox are not getting along. 10 print hello. 20. Oh, look at that. It's fixed my syntax. Go to 10. This is, well, I got to print first. Really? This is 30. Okay. Let's save it. All right, we've saved it. Let's run it. Okay, can I break out of this? I cannot break out of this. Reboot. So we still have the same can't break problem. Let's go into DOS, type test.base, which is now plain old text. File not found. Okay. I was going to try and create a new file called test2.base and see, because I thought that basic saved as symbols and not as print test2, not as plain text. Go to 10, save test2.base, system, type test2.base. Yeah, see? So GW basic saves as symbols where quick basic will just do plain text. Okay, so now we need to do QBasic/run remline.base. Input file name test.base. Output file name test line. Nope, can't do that. Test line.base. Working. Press any key to continue. And then it goes into the editor. So let's get out of here. And now I've got some basic programs. Let's do test line.base and see what it did. Yep. Line number 10 was the target of a go-to statement. It went through and figured that out and left it there. And then this will probably still run the same way. qbasic/run test line.base. So you should never see this is line 30 and it should print hello all over the screen, and then I have to reboot the computer. Let's see. Yay. And I can't break out of it, so I have to reboot the computer. So yeah, it does the thing. That's pretty cool. It works the way I thought it would work. So QBasic was a slimmed down version of QuickBasic, which was Microsoft's more extended version of BASIC at this time in history. Later on in the future, you got to Visual Basic and Visual Basic for DOS even later than that, which is a pretty neat little tool. I wrote up a Visual Basic for DOS program, mostly because it was easier to just prototype the user interface, which was the whole point of Visual something anyway, back when it first came out. Let's see, where were we? DOS. Let's see. All right, so test was mine. Test 2 was mine. Test line was mine. Let's do QBasic money.base. I like money. The money manager. So this was to run this program, type Shift F5 to get blah, 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 blah. This looks like it was a money management program written inside of QBasic. So you can see that the syntax is a lot different than BASIC. We're declaring subroutines, we're declaring functions, we're setting constants, making types, shared variables, global variables. I'm pretty sure I wrote some QBasic or QuickBasic. No, I definitely wrote some QuickBasic programs. So the language is relatively familiar to me. So let's hit Shift F5 and see what this looks like. Money Manager. There's a little animated intro screen. I don't know if you guys caught that or not, if this machine was too fast. File. So we've got drop-down menus, which you would have had to create yourself. So there's going to be subroutines in here for creating them. Transactions, reports, net worth report. What is my net worth? My net worth is 0 assets and 0 liabilities. Therefore, I am wealthy. F2 to exit. Colors. Monochrome, cyan, blue. Nice. Blue, cyan. Oh, it's got snow on it. Red, gray. Yeah. Red, gray with red snow. I guess if you look really close, you can see the snow. All right, cyan, blue. Cool. Reports, we did that. Transactions. Exit. Transactions. Transaction 1. Okay. Today's date. 1/10/21. Reference number 1. Description. Fun. Increase or decrease. We increase our fund by 1,000 funds. And we have a balance of 1,000 funds. Okay. Okay. Pressing enter doesn't change anything. And I can save and exit, which, I want to enter more than one transaction. Okay, so there's my one transaction. Let's insert another one. And nope. Oh, there goes my date. 1/10/21. 1/20/21. In the future. Reference number 2. Not fun. And I just lost all my funds, and my balance is now 0 fun. All right, save and exit. So that's a different transaction register. Save and exit. Transactions. And there's my saved transactions. Escape. Nope, escape doesn't do what you think escape would do. Accounts. Edit account titles. Fun account. This is really fun. Is it an asset or a liability? Fun is an asset. Now, if I come over to transactions, I have the fun account. Okay, good. So now I can enable it. So I can have up to 19 different accounts. Awesome. Exit. Press any key to continue. And we're back into basic. And let's see. So QuickBasic would let you have a view of subroutines in a different window. Let's see if QBasic does that. View subs. It does. Okay, so there's a lot of subroutines. Box, center, edit accounts, fancy CLS. Clears screen in the right color and draws nice dots. I wasn't selecting that text. That was a bad interaction between VirtualBox and the QBasic editor. Okay, color, dots, background, CLS2. So clear screen using color 2 for A equals 95 to 1820, step 45. Print char 250, view print. And then end sub. Excellent. Let's see what else there is. That was not the key I wanted to press. File, open. So we did money. Let's do nibbles. QBasic nibbles. I did not press enter. Shift F5 to run it. All right. You can see the marching ants around the outside of the screen. Yep. P for pause, up, down, left, right. Oh, WASD. Is this the first occurrence of WASD navigation? I don't know. Doesn't say how to quit the game. Press any key. How many players? 1, because there's only 1 of me. Skill level, novice. 100 twiddle fingers. Computer speed may affect your skill level. Increase game speed during play, of course. Monochrome or color? Color. Divide by 0. Nice. Try again. Press any key to continue. How many players? 1. Skill level 1. Increase game speed, yes. Monochrome or color? Color. Divide by 0. And it went right to the line and highlighted the line that had the problem. That's very nice. Let's do 1 player. Skill level 10. Increase game speed, no. Color screen. Divide by 0. So we're not going to run nibbles.base. This machine is too advanced for nibbles. Now you know, folks. All right, let's do file, open. When we get to a not so advanced machine, we'll run nibbles again. Nibbles was a program that put snake chow on the screen, and as you ate the snake chow, your snake got longer, and every one that you ate made the snake go faster, and with the snake being longer, you had issues of running into yourself. So gorilla. Loaded file is not saved. Save it now. No, that's because of the artifact where it added an extra line because it assumed I hit the enter key twice. Shift F5 to run gorilla. Do basic gorillas. Hit your opponent. Win speed is shown. Name of player 1. Default is player 1. Fine. Name of player 2. Default is player 2. Fine. Play until how many total points? 1. Gravity in meters per second. I didn't press anything, so I'm going to assume it chose Earth gravity. View intro or play the game. Let's view the intro. Starring player 1 and player 2. And it's just sitting there. Restart. Let's do it without the intro. I keep wanting to hit Command F instead of Alt F. Open in the DOS folder. Run it. Press any key. Player 1, player 2, play to 1 point. Earth gravity, view intro or play the game. Let's play the game. Angle 10, velocity 100. Oh, there's wind direction at the bottom. Oh, this is running nice and slow. Okay, so the previous intro was probably doing something and I was just impatient. Am I going to hit the building or am I going to hit the gorilla? That would be funny if I got the gorilla on my first try. No, I don't think I'm going to hit it. I think it's just going to go off the screen. Does it have realistic physics? Is it losing velocity? Or is it maintaining constant velocity? At this point, I'm just trying to keep myself entertained because this is so slow. And that was one of the constant complaints about basic development, was that it was always so slow. And a big part of this has to do with the fact that it is on an emulator trying to do graphics and sprites and all kinds of other stuff in an unoptimized language. And it's off the screen, and I missed. And let's, no escape. No break. You can only type numbers. All right, we're going to reset because I don't want to watch that twice. All right, so we went over all of the basic programs that we could go over. What's left? Append. Same thing, allows a program to open data files and specify directories as if they were in the current directory. That's not a very good explanation of what that does. Oh no, sorry, I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of join. So this is similar to the DOS path command where you can open programs as if they were in the current directory, even though they're in different directories. So there's nothing in this folder called Q, only Q basic, and I type Q and I get my QEdit advanced text editor. And I don't want to edit any files. That's fine. Get back out of there. All right. So append would let me open up files that were not in the current directory, data files, not programs. So I could go into, I guess I could set up an example, cd, let's say append c:/DOS, cd / qbasic nibbles.base. And there it is. So Alt F(X) to exit, don't save it. And let's see, applies append to directories, stores a copy. Is there a way to get rid of append? Append. So append/x on would do the same thing that append does and path does, and append/x off would only do what append does. That's weird. Type append to clear the appended directory list. Type append without parameters to display. Oh, type append semicolon. Okay, so we type append by itself and it should give us the append paths. And then we type append semicolon. Should clear it. And no append. Okay, so now when we run qbasic nibbles.base from the current folder where it doesn't exist, it should give us a blank file. And it gives us a blank file. Excellent. Okay, so let's see if it took up any memory to do that. It does. It takes up 9K of memory to do nothing because it doesn't unload itself. That was append, a trib. We had to use a trib in the beginning of the video to make disk space. A trib changes file attributes, and your file attributes were read-only, archive, system, and hidden. So a trib /?, and plus or minus to set or remove, what to set or remove, and do it with subfolders. So this is how a trib /, and I put an extra character in there, a trib // star. And I don't have DOS key loaded because we rebooted. Star. Okay, so you can see that the IOSys and the MS-DOS-sys files have the SH and R attributes on them. And this is essentially what I did. I did a trib -s -h -r c:/io.sys. And now you can see io.sys in the root folder of the hard disk. And they were read-only, so you wouldn't delete them. And they were hidden so that you wouldn't see that they were there and want to delete them. But I was nosy, and I saw they were there, and I wanted to delete them because I didn't want anything in my root folder of my drive except for directories. So if I delete that file, the machine will not reboot. We'll do that in a future video. +R, +S, +H. All right, backup. Backs up one or more files from one disk to another. This was the rudimentary backup program that came with DOS. And then there were better versions that could back up to tape or back up to other larger external drives or back up to different backup media or handle backups better. And this is just the one that came with DOS. What do we got? Check disk. We did check disk. Check disk /c:/f. Apparently there's nothing wrong with it. Comp compares the contents of two files or sets of files. And we showed that in the previous video. fc /?, compares two files or sets of files and displays the differences between them. Okay, so let's do copy con test.txt, test1, control Z, copy con test2.txt, test2, control Z, comp test.txt, test2.txt. Yes, there is a compare error at offset 4. Okay, compare more files? No. fc test.txt, test2.txt. Then it'll actually show you what the differences are between the two files. So there you have that. Let's clean up our mess. So that's comp and fc. Find. Find will search for a text string in a file or files. And then you can also do piping and stuff like that. So let's do dir pipe to find. And we want to do exe. And that will give us all of the lines that have the letters exe in them. So that's what find does, searches text. What's next? Label. Creates, changes, or deletes the volume label of a disk. So you can imagine that if you got your start with DOS 5, you had a little bit more of an assistant, a helper, a mentor, than if you got your start with DOS 3, where you had a book that you had to go to. I got my start with DOS 3. I'm comfortable looking in books. I didn't have any choice. Label, C:, volume label, none. And now you can see, as it scrolls off the screen, dir pipe to more. Now you can see that my volume label in drive C, volume in drive C, is none, as opposed to what DOS had so rudely overwritten it to be. You can tell I'm really bothered by it. Restore. Restores files that were backed up by using the backup command. What a shock. Sort. And now it doesn't have the summary at the bottom because the summary sorted to the top. And let's chain these all together. Yeah, so the very first thing was all of the spaces in front of the bytes free. Make that the first line alphabetically. Oh, and there's some temporary files. BBAL and BBALCNAJ are probably the two temporary files, one for directory pipe to sort and one for sort pipe to more. And what is that A3B.bat file? Let's have to take a look at that. We'll go look at batch files when we're done looking at executable files. Let's put DOS key back in. Now that we're almost at the bottom of the list, exe to bin / question mark. Convert executables to binary format. Okay. Expand / question mark. Expands one or more compressed files. And if you remember when we stuck the floppy disks in, we got the underscores at the end of the file names. Those were compressed files. And I don't think they were given the compression tool. Nope. Join and substitute. We talked about those in previous videos. Joins a disk drive to a directory on another drive, and substitute / question mark associates a path with a drive letter. So these two do the exact opposite of each other. One puts a subdirectory contents into the path of another, and one puts the subdirectory into a drive letter of another. So check back to the previous videos for an example of how those work, because it would be the exact same thing all over again. And then replaces files. Good. Yep. Okay, so this didn't change much. Adds new files to the destination directory, cannot use with /s or u. Replaces only files that are older than source files, cannot use with a. Adds new files to destination, cannot be used with s or u. S replaces files in all subdirectories of the destination directory, cannot use with the a switch. So there's lots of stuff that's incompatible with other things for reasons that make perfect sense. So this is not quite a backup and restore type tool. In my compact portable video, I believe they used replace in one of the batch files that was there to bring files off of the floppy disk, but not to replace newer versions of the files if they were on the hard disk. That would be an example of where you would want to do it. So if I saved a version of a file to my hard disk, I would not want to overwrite that with the version I was pulling from the floppy disk if it was newer on the hard disk. If it was older than the version on the floppy disk, then I would want to replace it. And this was a tool that would allow you to do things like that. Okay, so that's the end of the executables. Any batch files in here? Just that weird, oh, because I put /w on. Just that weird 8-byte batch file. Let's see what's in it. Type A3BEDOSC.bat. At command. So that's probably something that came quickly out of DOS shell and didn't delete it. All right, so that is all there is for DOS 5. Cool stuff. Let's see how much memory we have free on this right now. We've got append installed because we tested that out, and we've got DOS key installed because we tested that out, and we're at 6.11.008. So we need to do a unformat video, and we need to do QBasic programs on real hardware, and we need to do some fast open and some smart drive type stuff on real hardware, and a whole bunch of other stuff that you can do with DOS, obviously. But this was the DOS 5 upgrade and what is different between the two of them, and I saw a new money file out there. Money 1, money 2. Okay. So that's the ledger for account number 1, which we added the fun and not fun entries to. All right, let's type money.2. This is valid. Awesome. So that would be the second account. We looked in the account ledger, but we didn't, well, we hit save and exit. So we saved an empty account ledger. Okay. Money.dat. That went off the screen. Fun account. This is really fun. Okay, so this is the title of the accounts. Cool. There's DOS 5. More to come because there's more versions of DOS out there. And more fun things to do with this version of DOS when we get the compact portable restored. My PC archaeology video is the one that came out right before this one. If you haven't seen that one, be sure to go back and look at that one in the catalog for what DOS on real hardware looks like and what the machine looks like that we'll be doing some more DOS on real hardware videos on in the future. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being awesome. We'll see you in the next one.